Alright, so this is my 2011 Mac Mini. It cost me about $400 a few years ago. This year it's July 2020. I think I bought this in 2017. I think they go for a little over $200 now. So if you watched our last video of our 2006-2007 Mac Mini, it was a whole lot, we had a tough time opening it because we didn't know what we were doing. Anyways, this one, if you turn it over, you'll notice it has this nice little round door that's a whole lot easier to open up. And the design of this is a whole lot better. It's not quite the same as the original, but it is overall, I guess, better. It's one big solid metal piece. It has a bunch of ports on the back here, which we'll go over in the, if you look at the link in the description, we're gonna have a whole write-up on this thing. So we're gonna take this apart and clean it up. I bought this under the impression, so you just have to turn this and then you can pull it open like this. Now I bought this under the impression that it had 4 gigs of RAM. Turns out it had 8, so I didn't even have to upgrade it. I bought it with the thought of upgrading it in mind. So anyways, it has a hard drive but not an SSD, and it runs pretty well, except if you load it, it works great for YouTube, but if you fire up Minecraft, it works pretty well, but you'll hear the fan starts turning like crazy because the CPU starts heating up. So it gets a little bit of a load running Minecraft. And we don't do too much else with it, just Minecraft and I have not cleaned this thing at all since I bought it, so I don't know if it's ever been cleaned. This is as far as I've ever gotten taking it apart. Alright, yeah, so yeah, the door opened up a whole lot easier. I've never cleaned this since I bought it, and I don't know if the person who owned it before me did. I assume they upgraded the RAM, but yeah, I haven't even checked if it has an SSD, but there's no way this is running with an SSD. Yeah, so I haven't done a whole lot with it. I bought it for development, I used it for a little while, and now my kids use it for YouTube. So today we're taking it apart. This is less ancient than my other Mac Mini. So as you see, like all we had to do, you can take this apart with your hands, just twist this, pull the top off. Inside you'll see the fan going down onto the CPU. There's a Wi-Fi unit. I don't know exactly what's under this cap, if it's an antenna or what. And you'll see that the RAM is right here. So if you want to upgrade it, this pops right out. It's not soldered in place. Different generations, some generations they solder in place so you can't upgrade it, some they don't. Some they solder the hard drive in place. I think that's the most recent one. You can upgrade the RAM but not the hard drive, as crazy as that sounds. But anyways, yeah, let's try to open this up. I have my iFixit toolkit here, and we'll see if we can get by with this toolkit or if we need some other tools too. But let's start out by popping out the RAM. Alright, so this is a 4 gig stick of RAM. And there we go. That's pretty easy. Pops right out with your fingers. So far we haven't even needed any tools yet. This thing is so much easier than the last one. There's another stick of RAM. There's like no dust on this, which is amazing given how old this is. But I guess the only airflow is coming from the CPU here. So I forget what these are called. These are the Pentalobe screws, I think. I forget what the name of each one is. I put a little chart on. I did a write-up and I did a video on the iFixit toolkit and did a little. I have a chart on the page that's linked to that video, showing what each of these types of bits are, but I don't remember off the top of my head. I believe Pentalobe would be like that's got to be 5 points instead of 6, I think. Yeah, that would be Pent, right? Pent for 5. But anyways, yeah, looks like these are 6-pointed stars, so it's going to be one of these if we want to open this up. So if we want to go any further, we're going to have to open this up. I'm not sure if I even want to take this fan off, if we have to put more like let's take this off first and then we'll do the CPU. So let's go, let's see, well, I say I find a bit that fits this. Thinking something a good deal smaller than that. Let's see. Yeah, so it's great to have all these tiny little bits in here. And I think this will come up. I should take this off first, actually. Does this even, yeah, this is not even the right tool for this. What is this, like a hex key or something? Alright, so this is the bit I want for that. I cannot even see in there to see what that is. Alright, can we open it with, no, let's get a slightly smaller one. I think this is just a simple hex key. Over here. Yeah, there we go. So these are different types of screws for fun. I guess they just had to design it that way. Yeah, so the easiness comes after you've pulled out the ram. Everything else is a little bit tougher to get at, but nothing crazy. So we're going to pull these screws out. And let's see here. So we've got those screws out. Can this open right? Yeah, this kind of opens up. You don't even have to take these out. Let's see if we can pull this out. I don't know about this little plastic thing. I don't know if you're supposed to pull this out. Are you supposed to just pull this out? I have not watched a video of someone else opening this thing before. I don't want to break it because I don't want to be stuck without one. You know what? Let me just try pulling this other thing off here. Let's pull these. Maybe I'm not supposed to be pulling on that like that. I have not watched someone else open this up, so I'm just kind of figuring my way out through this. All right, pull this screw out. Pull this one out. Oh yeah, and see, I was totally wrong calling those. Yeah, the six-pointed ones, I forget what those are called, but the pentalobe, as you would expect, have 5 lobes. There's, yeah, these are, this row is pentalobe, or at least a few of these are pentalobe. And these, I'm not sure what these are actually called, like they're security screws or something. They have little dots in them, like in the center, they have a little hole. And yeah, that's that. All right, so pull these extra screws out. This thing does not, oh yeah, it just takes a little bit of effort. Okay, so there's like nothing there. It's just this metal grate. So this has got to be like an antenna in here. So there's a little dust behind here, but not much. Can you see that dust?
No. Whoa, ew.
So what else do we have to move?
No,
There's
Daddy.
a little layer of something.
No.
I believe that's got to be where the hard drive is. Let's try taking this CPU out first, for the CPU fan. So we're going to need a smaller bit for this. And what does that look like? It looks like a tiny little hex key. So how tiny of a hex key is it? Yeah, perfect. There we go. Let's open this thing up. And hopefully this isn't the heatsink stuck to the... Hopefully the heatsink isn't stuck onto the CPU and I don't just... hopefully I don't have to re-put some Arctic Silver in here because I only have so much Arctic Silver on hand. But let's find out. Yeah, that would be a bit of a pain having to reapply our Arctic Silver. I just don't want to have to do that today.
Daddy,
And it probably would make it...
Daddy, snippers.
It probably would make it run better, and who knows, I need more performance out of the CPU for mine. We don't need more performance, it works fine. Let's remove this thing. Okay. So look at that, what is this even? This pulls air off of this. There's no, that's not the CPU at all. What is that even? There's no way that's the CPU. It looks like it has something on it, like a little mark, but that's not like Arctic Silver or anything. So I'm not even sure. But yeah, this fan is, like, it looks like it pulls air from this whole spot, and that's the main vent there, so. I mean, is that the CPU? That's really tiny. I'm just kind of surprised. Let's see how much more we can pull out of here. So, let's remove this one. All right, let's see this one. Let's open this thing up. I have a feeling I don't really want to take that out. All right, so I'm going to continue taking this out, and hopefully I don't mess anything up or make things difficult for myself. And it looks like that needs a hex key, not this thing. have to remember where every one of these screws goes. I don't know if I really should take this system board out. I could take this out, but I don't know if I should either. You know, I should if I want to get this cleaned.
Hey, Daddy, that's my juices.
I'm going to pull this fan out.
Look, Daddy, look, this wire wire.
While not damaging it. Yeah, I really don't want to pull those wires out of the fan and have to figure out how to repair that. I don't want to pull the wires out of the plug. I want to just get this thing out. I don't know if I really should remove this. Yeah, maybe I should just leave this thing in place. Probably the better idea. I don't want to mess something up in there. Not today anyway. Alright, what else can we take? I don't see the point of taking this out unless I'm going to pull this whole system board out. Which I don't want to do. Do I want to take this thing out? Let me give it a shot.
Oh! What's up with that?
Alright, so this is just like a little thing of shielding that shields. I'm honestly not sure what this is, but it's shielded by this thing. Interestingly. That has to be the CPU, but this is actually a sticker that sticks right on top of it. That's terrible. That would mean like no heatsink. I don't think I want to remove this paper here, but maybe I should. I'm 90% sure that's the hard drive. You know what? I could just, this has a sticker. Maybe I'll just pull this off. I don't think this is necessary, but it's probably best if I put it back the way I found it when I'm done. I don't think I actually have to take that paper off to get this hard drive out. Though it certainly has connectors on it, so I mean, I don't know how tight those are either. This is in here nice and tight. Yeah, this thing that the RAM goes into is kind of blocking this, so I can't take this out first. Wow, that is really tight. Alright, so it looks like this is coming right out. So I was able to tilt it at more of an angle. Now, interestingly, alright, there are two little ports. I don't know if you can see. Let me see if I can zoom the camera in. And don't break that. Don't break that. Alright, so I'm going to zoom the camera in on this. Yeah, I don't know how much this can really zoom in. Alright, can I get this on the camera? Let me see if I can actually. Alright, yeah, the camera's on a tripod and I'm trying to aim it at the spot I'm looking at here. I almost think I should just take this down and. So I'm gonna just turn the camera like this. I'm taking the whole thing out. I'm gonna zoom it back to normal. And sorry about that, yeah. Now if you look over here, you'll note there are two little connectors here. So this one right here had this little thing on the hard drive connected to it. had this little, if I zoom out here, you can see this little connector on the hard drive. It's a little ribbon cable that goes to the back of the hard drive. Now you'll notice there are 2 ports here, and I'm assuming, so this one is the one it was plugged into. This must be if you wanted to add a second hard drive. Now I'm not sure what these are, if this is something I accidentally ripped off or what. Hopefully it's not something I accidentally broke. So there you go. So anyway, that was that. Yeah, hopefully I didn't break anything. I did not realize that thing was connected. Ribbon cable was connected there. Doesn't look like I broke it, but yeah, that was kind of suboptimal to not be aware of it ahead of time. Yeah, this plastic thing on the top doesn't seem to serve any purpose. Maybe to keep dust off the hard drive, I'm not sure. I've already damaged it, so I'm going to remove this, and hopefully there are no negative consequences to that. So I'm removing this plastic casing, and that should be fine. So this is the hard drive. Hopefully my camera's got to be focused right. All right, yeah. So it's a little dusty on this side. So it protects the circuit board, I guess, for whatever that's worth. This just sits in here. Looks like there is actually space to maybe fit 2 hard drives in here. You could definitely fit 2 hard drives in there. Yeah, so 750 gig hard drive. It's a SATA hard drive, but this is an old-fashioned mechanical hard drive. Warranty void if any label, screws removed or broken. Okay, that's fine, whatever. This is an ancient hard drive. I have no idea if this was an upgrade or what. We could get some more performance out of this by putting an SSD in it, but we're not doing that today because I don't have a spare SSD on hand. And because I already have macOS installed on here, and because it works just great, and because I think the bottleneck for Minecraft is somehow the CPU. I mean, because it spins up. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it's the hard drive. I mean, I bet you'd get more performance out of loading things with the hard drive, but I don't know if that would. Maybe it would make it more responsive. I mean, even though the CPU is going to go under load and start, the fan's going to start going. Maybe that's not what's holding it up. Maybe it's the hard drive that's actually holding it up. Just because you hear the fan doesn't mean the CPU is having trouble. It just means it's doing something. So, I'm betting actually if we replace this with an SSD, the hard drive would look pretty nice. Alright, so let's see here. What else can we take apart in here? It looks like this is the whole system board on this, and there's a little plastic thing holding it up, and that's it. This is the system board right here. We could almost just pull this whole thing out probably. And I feel like I should take this whole thing out. I could swear this is where the CPU is supposed to be. That looks like the CPU, but I don't know if that's really the case. Yep. And I'm going to have to remember where all these screws go. So this thing is held in place probably just by these screws here. Maybe some other screws. Let's see if we can pull this out. Should we pull this whole thing out?
Yes.
Gotta love how all the screws are different sizes. Wow, there's a long screw. I gotta wonder how I would actually get this entire thing out. Or can I get this entire thing out? I don't know how they ever did this. 'Cause this case is one big piece. You would have to get this thing out of the way first. I don't think you could do that. This can't go any further this way. Due to, there's no way to pull this thing out. Unless we could slide it down a little and pull it out like this. Let's see see, are there any other screws holding this in place? Does this thing come out? Yeah, I don't know. Looks like the wireless module is right under there. And it's a separate little board on top of the system board. I should see what's under the, you know, I didn't take this screw out at all. I don't know how I missed that. This is going to be an interesting one. Is this connected to anything in here? This is a nice solid metal thing. What else is there that I can remove? This looks like some kind of heat sink or something, but it's actually really strange. Doesn't look like it comes out. Looks like those screws just went through to hold it to this little mounting bracket thing here, but it wasn't to remove this part here. Alright, what else do we have in here that we could take out? Looks like there might be screws back there where I can't reach them. Interestingly. I don't even know how you would begin to do that. Yeah, there's no getting the rest of this out. Alright. Okay, so I just checked a video of someone else doing this, and I was missing something obvious. So you're actually supposed to pull it out from here. You're actually supposed to pull this whole back thing out and pull the logic board out from here. So we're going to try to do that. So you actually have to disconnect the logic board from the power supply. But I'm going to see if this thing can move at all. Like, does this actually even move a little bit? It doesn't seem to. Actually, yeah. I probably have to do something else to it first. Alright, so let's take a look at this. So, yeah, it looks like we have to stick a screwdriver in these two holes and pull it back like that to pull the logic board out. And what else? We're going to disconnect the fan and these other things. So, looks like we really should be doing that. I'm going to use this other iFixit tool. What was this thing called? Repair something? I don't know. This is the spludger. So this is a spludger, I guess. I'm going to use this to try to pry out this thing. Without, you know, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do that in a little bit, maybe. Let's try pulling this out a little bit. We need something smaller on here. And hopefully I'm not destroying this. This just seems wrong to push on this like that. But let's see.
Hey Daddy, it's maybe wise time.
Seems like it's really solid in place. I really feel like this thing should have come out. Should I have pulled this off? Alright, so I'm going to try to get this fan out of here. Yeah, the video I watched I think was for a slightly different version of this Mac Mini. But let's see.
This.
Yeah, I don't think this is a little soft for this. I think, let me see if I have another tool that's better for the job. Or maybe this thing. Oops. Oh, there we go. That looks like being rough with it was the way to go. And it popped right off. Alright. Nothing to worry about there. It was not going to break on me. And I really should take this. So I got the fan out. Now I'm going to pull this wireless. I think this is the antenna. This just comes right off too. No, don't clean that now. Alright.
It's too dusty. Huh.
Now let's see. Let's see if we can slide this out.
Trees.
All right, so we figured out how to get this out. I have 2 screwdrivers in here. You stick them in these tools and push it out. You just have to get them in right and give it enough force. You just got to get it at the right angle or something. I know you just have to catch it right. But as it turns out, this is definitely not the CPU. The CPU is underneath. This is actually a heatsink. CPU is here, and some other controller is under this thing. I'll put more details on this on the write-up and the link in the description. But yeah, CPU is under this heatsink, and this heatsink is like a boomerang shape that goes around here to this vent. So the fan blows across the vent, pulling heat away from this heatsink.